Hey, real quick, be sure to watch my previous video over Batman and Telltale series episode 1, Realm of Shadows, because I'm gonna spoil pretty much every aspect of that game's plot in this video. Sound good? Alright, here we go.
You always said it was a simple mugging. In 20 years, you've never wavered from that story. Sometimes we block out things we don't want to face.
It's always weird when a game doesn't really resonate with you like it did with others. Looking back, the first episode of Batman the Telltale series received fairly mixed reviews, none of them being necessarily bad. I wasn't a fan, but considering my faith in the brand as well as the studio, I decided to give episode 2, Children of Arkham, the good old college try. And what I got in return was a surprisingly far superior episode. Nothing groundbreaking for the developer, but instead a thoroughly more entertaining episode, focusing on advancing the plot more than establishing it.
You are your own man, and the city needs you, now more than ever.
With Bruce Wayne's family name collapsing, he's forced to dig deep and ask bigger questions. On his quest to find answers in episode 1, Bruce was more preoccupied with complaining about his situation than actually attempting to confront it, which made for a poor representation of Batman's alter ego. In episode 2, Bruce actually works toward his goal. He does less wallowing and actually asks meaningful, legitimate questions. Whereas episode 1 spent a lot of time establishing its characters, now we can finally get to the fun stuff. Considering the fall of the Wayne family seemed to be episode 1's primary conflict, there was a lot going on behind the scenes as Bruce was consistently outmaneuvered and overwhelmed by the media fallout. The result was a Batman who felt largely out of character and too vulnerable. Here, we're given a more concrete villain with a far more devious plan, and the way multiple story elements overlap is a testament to Telltale's adept storytelling. Characters become more fleshed out, with Bruce Wayne and Selina Kyle commanding the spotlight more often than not. The pair, who have been featured in a handful of Batman's previous outings on film, television, and in the comics, share similar chemistry here. That's to say that it's pretty fun to watch.
I think they want more.
Then let's give it to them.
From a gameplay perspective, it's the same old bag, but episode 2's emphasis on taking action leads to more exciting encounters and heated conversations more befitting of the Batman universe. There's no mingling or detective section this time, making for much better pacing and more memorable decisions. And there was one that genuinely had me giddy with excitement, that I'm not gonna spoil here.
What does Bruce Wayne have to do with this?
Pretty boy's got himself a fat bank account, thanks to his parents. Only problem is, they took that money from people that couldn't fight back.
The combat, which featured fancy choreographed fistfights in episode 1, feel much less planned out. That is to say that the fight scenes here seem more improvised. In episode 1, Batman's opening fight with Catwoman boiled down to complex combat maneuvers where you were given little control. Inevitable comparisons to the Arkham franchise made this clash seem really bland and forgettable, despite some nice camera work. Because we'd seen these types of fights before. But episode 2's tussle in a grimy bar is an all-out brawl. One that gives the series a more unique identity, apart from its Arkham counterparts. On to the presentation. The same issues you'll find in every Telltale game are present here, and they're getting harder and harder to forgive. But I ran into some of the worst visual glitches of any game I've ever played in episode 2. Paired with some areas where the developers must have just gotten lazy with pixelated, ill-defined faces. If a developer showed me this footage after telling me they wanted to delay their game and said, hey, we need to touch a few things up, I'd be like, whoa, yeah, okay, oh god, okay, yeah, take your time with that, Jesus. Speaking of unfinished, I wasn't able to play this game for 4 days after its release. For those of us unfortunate enough to buy the season pass, Telltale didn't give access to episode 2, which was a major bummer. There have certainly been worse situations, with companies pulling entire games from the likes of Steam and other online stores, but the developer needs to put accessibility and polish over meeting a personal deadline. Episode 2 greatly alleviated many of the qualms I had with this franchise to begin with. Unfortunately, it's also mired with some of Telltale's worst bugs, but hopefully that was unique to my playthrough. Nevertheless, it highlights a lot of what makes Telltale such a unique developer in the first place. A great story with some wonderful character development and heart-pounding decisions. Children of Arkham is by no means Telltale's magnum opus, but it's markedly better than its predecessor. It makes me excited to revisit Gotham in Episode 3.
Going to speak with him, Bruce?
Bruce Wayne already tried talking with Cobblepot. It's time he met the Batman.